Okay, so I'm trying to get past the Q&A of what we normally do in research, really trying to push the boundaries with unusual UX questions to get those extraordinary insights. So with Nuanced Communications, we're part of the Drive Lab, and we do research on the in-vehicle experience, specifically around voice technology in the car. You learned a little bit about voice earlier, right? But you can see here we're in our driving simulator, we do surveys and other things. But other things we have are questions all the time. How do drivers envision their virtual assistant's appearance? And now you could simply say, okay, fine, just ask them that. Or we can get more creative. And instead, we had them draw their virtual assistants. So we see that they personified their virtual assistant, in this case, a woman, right? Or this was a lockbox and everything was under high security. Or somebody just had a bunch of servers and said, nope, that's how voice works. So how smart should a voice system be? One of the questions we thought of was like, well, okay, what is smart? What does that even mean? How do you deal with that? So instead of asking how smart the voice system is, we said, if our voice system, in this case Dragon, were a person, then what kind of student would they be? And this person says they'd be an A student because your voice system has wisdom. We also found that most people thought they were 10th graders. How do drivers know where they are in a voice process? This was a thing that I thought about when you maybe are sending a text message and doing navigation. Where are you? What have you been to? Where are you going? So we had them play the game of life. Here we actually put them in a car and had them go to different stops on their way to retirement, asking them, hey, where are you here? Where are you going? Where do you need to go? And if there's a fork in the road, how do you get there? How does the voice system tell you that? Another question is wake-up word, push-to-talk, or just talk the way to go or more natural for drivers? Now you're saying, wait, I don't know, wake-up word, right? In this case, we use hello, Dragon. We also have push-to-talk, which is that button on your steering wheel or maybe on your infotainment system. And then our own technology, just talk, where you can just simply talk and it'll pick up what you're saying. And in that case, we thought, what's more natural? So we asked people, if you're sitting with a passenger in the seat, are you going to tap them on the shoulder? Are you going to yell at them and say their name? Or are you just going to simply talk? And we found that a lot of people just simply wanted to talk to their infotainment system. How do drivers know what is wrong with their car? We've all seen that light come up and like, oh, I don't know what to do about that. Well, we wanted to make sure other people felt that way too. So we had people come in and we had them look at their car and said, this is something wrong with your car. You figure it out. And we see there that people are trying the manual, they're looking at their phones, they're also checking under the hood, and we could really see how people troubleshoot with their own cars. How do drivers respond when the system doesn't understand them? I think we've all been there. So in this case, when it doesn't understand them, people don't know what to do necessarily. So for this example, we showed them this and said, try to get this out of the system. And maybe they said, call Tony, or find Tony, or contact Tony. In this case, there was no Tony in the system. Tricky, tricky. And so what we found was that people were really frustrated, saying things like, well, I just thought there must not be a Tony, so I'm going to go with Anthony. And so they come up creatively that way. Or spell out Tony, T-O-N-Y. But needless to say, everybody was really mad after this experiment. So other things we ask about in our research, but we do lots of things like this where we actually just show them these vague examples. Another one I'll have coming up next is in French. I don't know how many of you speak French. All of our participants did not. So that was really interesting to see how they would muddle through this French phrase, right? In this case, I don't think we're going to get to it. Oh, yep. Okay, so here, how do drivers ask for something that they can't pronounce? So we can go on to the next. And this is that French phrase that I was talking about, where it is a song, but I can't say it, and they couldn't either. So a lot of people would go through and go, pour Q2 and, try to figure out how to say it. And maybe this is something you're familiar with. You maybe have a navigation system and you don't know what that address says or the contact name, and you try to get through it. In this case, this participant blew us away. They said, show me all the songs with encore in the title, because it was the only word they knew. So I hope from all this talk and from this whole night, you really push the boundaries and think outside of the box to get those extraordinary insights. Thank you.